We just celebrated the secular New Year. It's a time when most of us make resolutions for changing ourselves and our behavior for the coming year. In less than 2 weeks, most of us break every one of those resolutions. Did anybody here make a resolution for the new year that 11 days later you're still keeping? I think the reason for our inability to keep resolutions is that we are resolving the wrong things at the wrong time. The secular New Year is celebrated because we have just finished 12 months of the Julian calendar and are about to start over again. The day is an arbitrary one. It has no more significance than the fact that the Earth has just completed a revolution around the sun. New Year's Day could be celebrated any day of the year. Why then do we attach so much importance to it? Do you think 1 million people would crowd into Times Square to watch if we told them that we were going to drop a ball on March 10th? The most noteworthy feature of New Year's is the fact that more people go to parties and get drunk that night than any other night of the year. Is that really a productive setting for introspection and decisions about changing our behavior? Resolutions are interesting. A recent study showed that 87% of New Year's resolutions were to discontinue bad habits, but only 13% reflected intentions to begin a good one. The number one resolution that I hear every year from the most people is to lose weight. Do you know anyone whose New Year's diet lasted longer than a week? The survival rate for my annual New Year's diets is usually measured in hours, not weeks or months. Close behind weight loss are resolutions to quit smoking and to quit or cut down on drinking, and find a better job and quit the one we have that we don't like. Generally, those don't work either. I'm not saying that we humans can't benefit from introspection and a determination to improve ourselves, but I think there are better ways to do it. If your resolutions must be tied to a new year, it's far better to make them for Rosh Hashanah, a time when we are looking at ourselves and at God's laws. But even that has the inherent problem of being an annual event. Anything we resolve to do for a whole year usually turns out to be an impossibly huge project, so we give up on it. Imagine if you were a painter and someone asked you to paint the interior of the Biltmore Mansion, which has 250 rooms in it. The response would be a horrified, "I can't do that." But if you were asked to paint 1 or 2 rooms a week until the mansion was finished, you would relish the project and the job security that came along with it. God, in his infinite wisdom, understood when he created us humans that our long-term willpower was severely lacking. I think that's one of the reasons he gave us the Sabbath and commanded us to keep it holy. If you want to make resolutions and keep them, observe the Sabbath and make your resolutions then. The Sabbath, if properly kept, wipes the slate clean and gives us a new start every week. Whatever you have resolved doesn't look nearly as difficult in increments of a week as it does when viewed a whole year at a time. As time goes by, we Jews observe the Sabbath less and less. That is partly because we are a minority in a country that sees our Sabbath as just another day. But it's also because frequently we ourselves choose that path. Another good thing about observing the Sabbath and making our resolutions then, instead of on New Year's, is that we would probably resolve to improve ourselves in ways that would please God more than a determination to go from a size 10 to an 8 or smoking fewer cigarettes. I think we should join the 13% who resolve to add positive changes to our lives instead of eliminating the negatives. A great place to look for suggestions on what those positive changes should be is our list of 613 commandments. Granted, some of the commandments might not improve our lives very much if we observed them, such as the one about not casting spells on snakes and scorpions. But can you imagine how much life would improve if we resolved every Sabbath that for the coming week we would not question the Word of God, we would honor the old and the wise, not carry tales, not cherish hatred, not bear a grudge, not take revenge, not put any Jew to shame. Think of the difference we could make if we resolved, as the commandments teach us, to aid any beast that has fallen beneath its burden and to give charity according to our means. Who knows, if we Jews started keeping the Sabbath properly, we might begin resolving to study the Torah more and be kinder to each other. It might even cross some people's mind that they should come to shul more than twice a year. Most of us view the Sabbath observance as something we should do because God expects it of us, but not really something we want to do. We have acquired the backwards idea over the years that keeping the Sabbath is something we are doing for God. I think that's wrong. Keeping the Sabbath, like all other commandments, is something that God has done for us, not the other way around. The Sabbath, observed as it should be, is a gift from an all-powerful Creator to a needy people, not a plea from a needy God. The commandment to keep the Sabbath was given to us to ensure our happiness and well-being, not God's. Giving God back his day might just put him where he belongs in our lives, and we'll find that most of our resolutions aren't really necessary. In a God-centered life, those extra 10 pounds and a few cigarettes just really aren't that important.